Welcome to the Stephen Mansfield Podcast.
Well, welcome to the Stephen Mansfield Podcast. I'm glad you've joined me. This podcast is going to be a little bit different because I want to warn you about something, and I want to warn you about the impact of something on your soul and your life. So less than talking about foreign policy and current trends, I want to talk to you about what's happening in your life because of what is going on in our society. You know, this past week, I heard President Trump make a speech in which he criticized the first President Bush 41 we call him, in which he criticized John McCain, a fellow Republican who is dying of brain cancer, and in which he praised the president of Russia, Putin. I got to tell you, it had a real impact on me. I also listened in the last couple of weeks while a black congresswoman called upon a crowd to berate and assault members of the Trump administration and the Trump cabinet. Maxine Waters just took off and called people around the country to berate and assault members of the Trump administration, particularly the cabinet. I have heard foul things come out of people's mouths. I have heard presidential advisors make sarcastic noises when the traumatizing of children was involved. It's absolutely stunning. And I want to say, of course, all of you know that we've moved into a new age in our generation. We've moved into an age of crass, malicious, vile politics. Now, some of you immediately will say this is without question the doing of Donald Trump. Well, he certainly has contributed to it, but the left has also contributed to it. It's happening on both sides, but I'm not trying to protect Donald Trump. You know me, where he screws up, I'll say so, and where he does good things, I'll say so. I'm a moderate, and I will support him where he does valid things, and when he doesn't, I'll hammer him. And in this case, he's absolutely contributed to the coarseness of our national debate, of our public discourse. There's no question about it. You remember in the campaign the nasty stuff about hand size being a metaphor for, size of a man's, private parts, talking about people's wives, calling people's wives sluts and whores, talking about senators, fathers being involved in killing Kennedy, cussing, talking about violence against reporters. I mean, on and on and on. And yeah, he did make racist statements. And so, the bottom line is he's contributed to that, but so has the other side. There's just no question the other side has as well. The crassness of the debate. I've been in Washington when women have suddenly stripped and bared their breasts to make some feminist protest. I mean, the coarseness has shot through the entire body politic. And what I want to address in this podcast, a little bit different than the normal tone of my podcast, and that is I want you to be on guard against the coarseness of the American public debate from making you coarse. See, this podcast is a lot for leaders. It's a lot for patriots. It's a lot for people who are making a difference. A lot of congressmen and senators listen to it. A lot of people in state legislatures, governors listen to it. People planning to run for office, people who are political activists. I welcome all of you, and just people sitting at home wanting to learn. I'm delighted that you're here, but I care about you. It's almost like you're my little flock, and I don't want the coarseness in our national debates to make you coarse. You see, when we listen to this stuff, when we become desensitized, when we become hardened, we don't make good choices. We react. We don't think. We are living at a time when we need people to think through new solutions. We need people who are able to be moderate. We need people who are able to have two competing thoughts in their brain at the same time. We need people who are not just locked into hard left and hard right, but who can choose wisely amongst the political options and can choose according to American principles, can choose according to fairness, choose according to justice, and choose according to righteousness as it's traditionally been defined. But if we become coarsened, if we become hardened, if we become bitter, then we are not going to be thinkers. We're going to be reactors. We're going to be haters. And that's what's damaging our dialogue now. There are good people on the national scene. There are good people in Washington, D.C. There are a lot of people who are not hard right or hard left, but are thinkers and who are judicious people and want to do right and want to do righteousness, but they're frankly intimidated. They're intimidated they won't get support. They're intimidated if they come out moderate, they'll get hammered by either extreme. American common sense is being lost in the crush between the two sides. And I'm concerned that if you continue allowing a coarseness, especially if you're in a responsible position, if you're a professor, if you're a pastor, if you're a congressman, a senator, if you're a state legislator, if you are someone who's an activist, if you're coarse, you won't be rational. If you are continually hardened and allowing the debate to shape you in a hardened, reactive, bitter way, then you won't be providing solutions. We've got plenty of screamers. We've got plenty of violent people. We've got plenty of reactionary people. We've got plenty of hard hearts. We've got plenty of calloused souls on the national stage. What we need are reasonable people. What we need are people who are passionate and fiery and articulate and great speech makers and great activists and great doers, but whose souls are not metallic, who are not crushed inside, who are not damaged souls. You can hear people talking on TV, watching them on all the networks, not just the left or the right ones, and you realize these people are damaged. There's something wrong with them. We need a different caliber of people. There are a lot. I got to tell you, there are a lot of folks in state who are state governors, a lot of folks in D.C. Congress and Senate who are, without question, good, solid people, but they need the support of good, solid people like you. They need reasonable people. And I want you to make sure that, pay attention to the news. Have opinions, study, learn about these issues, but don't just be angrily reactionary. It's happening on both sides. It's damaging our country. And I got to tell you, it's not just going to damage you when it comes to politics. Because if you're an angry person, if you're a coarse person, if you're a bitter person, let me assure you that's affecting your marriage. It's affecting your relationship with your kids and other people. It's affecting the way you conduct yourself on the job. I know of a company, a very good company, by the way, that recently had to let somebody go, not because of their political opinions, but because politics had so angered this person and so made them coarse and harsh and hardened that they were vicious to other people about work matters. And so they couldn't continue to keep their job. They were vile. Their language was foul. They got violent. They didn't do their job well. They used racist language. And what had happened was, they admitted it, that they had been drawn into anger and rage and coarseness by the tone of political debate in our society. Guard against that. I'll tell you how you do it. You start to pull back a little bit. You read your news, you make your judgments, you go to first principles. You read some of the great documents, some of the great speeches, some of the great literature of our American experience. We recently celebrated the 4th of July. Have you read the Declaration of Independence? Man, I'd recommend it. Have you read the Federalist Papers? Have you read our Constitution? Have you read the Gettysburg Address, Lincoln's second inaugural, Lincoln's first inaugural? Have you read some of Franklin Roosevelt's fireside chats? Have you read 2 or 3 of Ronald Reagan's great speeches? In other words, get in touch with the greatness of America and proceed from that, rather than just hammering Hillary Clinton all day, or rather than just hammering Trump. Neither one of those people are favorites of mine, trust me. But that doesn't mean I'm going to let what they do or the debate around them to make me coarse, make me hard. I want to be a big soul, a big spirit. I want to make a difference in society. I'm not going to let the tone make me coarse and harsh and angry and narrow and racist and vile. And I'm concerned that's what's happening. I want you to stop it. I want you to back it off. I want you to push back against it. And I want you to be the great soul that we need in our generation.
Stephen Mansfield is a New York Times best-selling author, a popular speaker, and a frequent faith and culture commentator on Fox and CNN. His groundbreaking books on faith and society include The Faith of George W. Bush, The Search for God in Guinness, Mansfield's Book of Manly Men, and Lincoln's Battle with God. Learn more at stephenmansfield.tv.